CIGA Design has carved out a reputation for doing what most affordable watch brands won't. Designing something original, not borrowed, not inspired by actual design. And remarkably, they're not just shouting into the void. They've won awards for it. Real ones. The kind that come with judges, champagne and Patek Philippe awkwardly trying not to make eye contact. Their Blue Planet bagged the GPHG award. Yes, that GPHG. Casually putting CIGA Design on the same list as Swiss aristocracy, including brands that have been telling the same story for 150 years and charging extra for the privilege. But the Blue Planet isn't the only trick up their sleeve. Meet the Z-Series Edge Watch, the affordable £300 winner of the German Design Award and an exercise in doing things differently. Spoiler alert, it's brilliant, bold, unique and deeply committed to the bit. But it also makes a few choices that'll leave you quietly muttering "why" under your breath. We all like to pretend packaging doesn't matter. That we'd happily take a watch wrapped in bubble wrap and sealed with gaffer tape, as long as the savings went into the watch itself. But let's be honest, we're liars. Presentation matters. It always has. Especially when we're buying something inherently unnecessary, like a mechanical device to tell the time in the era of smartphones. CIGA Design clearly gets that. The packaging isn't bulky or overdone, it's a cleverly designed book-style box that feels deliberate, not disposable. Thin, minimal and refreshingly free of pointless filler. Inside you get the watch, the strap, the paperwork, all slotted in with that smug Apple-level neatness. If Apple made Chinese mechanical watches, this is probably how they'd package them. Flip open to the watch page and you'll be greeted by the silicone strap alongside the Z-Series Edge in all its skeletonized glory. It comes in a variety of flavours, stainless steel with your choice of blue, red or black silicone strap, titanium of either black or orange, or black DLC coated with a matching strap for the full stealth effect. The one I've received? Titanium with orange. As subtle as a traffic cone and about as fun as a traffic cone at 3 AM during Freshers Week. Size-wise, it's 40.8mm wide, 48mm lug to lug and 12mm thick. Balanced modern proportions that keep things wearable without fading into anonymity. Up top, you get a chunky slab of curved sapphire. Out back, a display case back showing off a heavily customised seagull movement ticking away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. You'll get 48 hours power reserve and an accuracy range of -15 to +30 seconds a day. Not COSC, but, as we'll come to explore, if you're wanting to see time accurately at a quick glance, this isn't the watch for you. I'll be giving away this watch, along with several others, exclusively to Fully Lumed members. You know the deal by now, it's not a cash grab, the money from the membership goes straight into the shipping costs because sadly, Royal Mail still refuses to accept likes as legal tender. As the community grows, so does the opportunity to buy in pricier pieces to review, and then give them away. So, if you want the chance to win watches, unlock exclusive content and get early access to the main channel's videos, then hit that join button below or use the link in the description. The giveaway for the San Martin SN0129 is just around the corner, so now's a good time to get involved. Oh, and we're teetering on the edge of 5,000 subscribers. If you haven't entered that free giveaway yet, the link's down there too. Click it before you forget. Right, let's get on with the video. Now, the Richard Mille comparisons are inevitable. The tonneau shape, the skeletonized dial, the general aura of I'm loaded and you need to know I am. But spend more than 5 seconds with it and you'll realise this isn't a budget RM cosplay. It's leaner, cleaner, far less try-hard. More style homage than direct imitation. A tasteful cocktail of Frank Muller curves, a hint of Hublot arrogance, and just enough RM influence to keep things interesting without diving headfirst into parody. The case itself, frankly stunning. That warm dark titanium case with its satin finishing looks like it was carved out with ambition and smoothed down with confidence. The side cutouts had a secondary skeletonized effect, part watch, part architectural statement. And there's something oddly charming about how they echo old leaf spring suspension systems. It's industrial, but not cold, like a farmer's old Mercedes G-Wagon that's been pimped out. Then you've got 4 hex screws sitting pretty in the cutouts. Do they do anything? Absolutely not. But neither do most people in middle management, and we still keep them around. They look great, and that's enough. Crown guards, massive. At first glance, they could be mistaken for chronograph pushers, but since the crown is just a push-pull unit, I'll accept the over-engineering as a precautionary measure. If it helps stop the crown from popping out every time you brush past a door frame, I'm all for it. The crown itself is nicely knurled, but comically small. You'll need fingernails and patience, and possibly tweezers. Still, once you get hold of it, it's satisfying enough. What really separates CIGA Design from the ocean of forgettable Chinese specials is the detail work. Like the anodised red crown tube visible through the side cutout. They could have left it raw, silver and soulless, but instead they gave it a lick of colour that ties in with the subtle dial accents. Someone, somewhere, actually thought about this. Around the back you get a display case back attached with 4 tiny screws and offering an underwhelming 30 metres of water resistance. I'd prefer 50 metres, not because I plan on scuba diving with it, but because I'd rather not panic when washing my hands. Still, with the case shape and price point, compromises were always part of the deal. A compromise too far though? I'll let you decide. Overall, the design feels deliberate. Nothing seems tossed in for the sake of it. Even the CIGA Design logo, boldly etched into the case side. Something that should feel obnoxious, but somehow works. It pushes the design more towards a sporty look rather than a chintzy, chiselled executive personality, which is a win in my book. Wearing it is a treat. The dimensions help, and the titanium keeps it light enough to forget it's on, until someone asks what that mental looking thing on your wrist is. That said, I do wish the caseback had a little curvature or the lugs flicked down just a hair. Something to follow the natural shape of an actual human wrist. It's a nitpick, sure, but if I don't nitpick, then I wouldn't be doing my job properly. The dial, if we're being generous with definitions, is less of a dial and more of a skeletonized chassis. A frameweight that doubles as the base plate for the movement. There's no traditional face here, just a ring around the edge with faint hour notches and a 60-minute track clinging onto the inner walls like it's not quite ready to let go. But look through the chassis and you'll see what this watch is really about. The heavily modified seagull movement has had its organs rearranged, balance spring relocated to 6 o'clock, mainspring hoisted up to 12, creating a semblance of order in that crazy cluster of cluttered chaos that could keep someone with ADHD occupied for hours. But here comes the big why. The watch is hard to read. That's not a critique, that's just physics. Skeletonized dials are inherently messy. And legibility is often the first thing sacrificed at the altar of, look at all that tiny stuff moving. That's fine. For the kind of person who buys this, reading the time is probably a secondary concern. Still, CIGA at least tried to help. On the original version, you got a thick red seconds hand and bold arrow-tipped hour and minute hands filled with enough red paint to actually see them. But this newer, improved version, that effort has apparently been dialed back. The seconds hand is now a skeletonized sliver of polished steel with a red tip so faint it feels like a printing error. The hour and minute hands, hollowed out, barely there outlines with a timid splash of red at the ends. More fashion accessory than functional indicator. It's as if CIGA Design took those complaints of legibility on version 1 and doubled down on version 2 by saying, if your eyes aren't good enough to see the hands, get new eyes. To be fair, indoors you can read it, if you squint. But outside, where the sunlight bounces off that enormous curved sapphire like a disco ball pointed at your face, you'll be lucky to find the hands before your retinas file a formal complaint. At that point, it's probably easier just to check your phone and pretend the watch is there purely for vibes. Which, let's be honest, it kind of is. But credit where it's due, the movement is gorgeous. Front and back, it's all polished edges, clean-cut bridges and satisfying symmetry. The one I received, surprisingly, is spotless. No rogue hairs, no metal shavings, no sad signs of QA abandonment. Just a crisp, well-finished seagull, proudly dancing away like no one's watching, but looking hot at the same time. My only gripe, and it's a small gripe, I wore this watch for a day before doing the review so I could get a good feel of it. This included driving. Now, my daily drive is a Jaguar. Yes, I know. Let's not mention the advert or something about being a dodgy granddad's car. But if you've ever owned a Jag, you'll understand the paranoia. Every creak, buzz or faint chatter could be a 4-figure repair bill waiting to pounce. So when I heard a loud, high-pitched mechanical grinding, I panicked. Timing chain, turbo, mortgage. Nope, just the watch rotor. Not broken, just assertive. Not quite alarming when you know it's not your turbo on the way out, but definitely louder than you'd expect for something smaller than a penny. Overall, this is a high-quality, easy-wearing piece. The silicone strap is soft, subtle and feels reassuringly premium. Though, the orange does slightly bicker with that timid splash of red on the hands. A red strap would have tied the room together. Failing that, go black and save yourself the headache. It doesn't feel like anything else on the wrist, and it doesn't look like anything else either. It's clearly not for everyone, but if this style speaks to you, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better version without adding a 0 or 2 to the price. It's not perfect, but it's got just enough personality, just enough attention to detail that you can forgive it for almost everything. Almost. That 30 metres water resistance still feels like a bit of a sulk. If CIGA could bump it up to even 50 metres, it would make far more sense to far more people. The same goes for the hands. Either revert to the more legible version 1 setup, or go all in and introduce some proper colourway options. Lime green, yellow, turquoise, hell, even hot pink. Pair them with matching straps and suddenly it's not just a talking point, it becomes your entire personality. But overall, I've genuinely enjoyed my time with this one. I thought I'd hate it, I didn't. In fact, I was almost tempted to keep it for those rare days I feel like dressing like a fashion-forward eccentric. But no, it's heading to one of you lucky members. Make the most of it, but maybe don't wear it near water. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.